Aloha, good morning. My name's Laura Witter. I work at the Hyatt Regency Waikiki Beach Resort and Spa. I've been here for 35 years. I currently hold the position of training manager here at the hotel. Technology has changed so much within the hotel industry. Everything from the programs that you have in restaurants to the way that you can check in at the front desk to housekeeping that goes into the rooms. All of those areas technology has touched. We now have front desk agents that need to check people in with an iPad versus a computer. You have our housekeepers which have to use iPods to tell that employee which room to clean and what the status of the room. And then once they clean it, the front desk knows that it's now clean. So technology has touched housekeeping, front desk. So someone that's interested in hospitality has to be comfortable with technology because it's ever evolving. I would think in the past we always would say, well, if you were friendly and outgoing, that's what we looked for. But I think that as the customer or the guest has changed, what we really look for are actual listening skills. That ability for that person to listen to what the guest is saying to them. I do truly believe that we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And part of that goes back to if you as the employee can listen to what the guest is saying and ask good questions and really find out that emotion behind the why, then you'll be able to give great customer service. So really, I believe listening is a soft skill that if you can develop that, you'll do very well in the hospitality industry. And then of course, we do still look for the smile. We still look for that outgoing, friendly personality, someone that looks approachable because the guest needs to want to come to you. But other than that, I think really listening, if you can develop that as a skill, you'll go very far. When we interview for applicants that to be potential Hyatt employees, we look for that person to demonstrate, can they connect? Do they connect with me in the interview? So if they connect with me in the interview, then they'll connect with our guests. Hyatt has always believed that how we treat each other, meaning colleague to colleague or employee to employee, is how we'll treat the guests. So when we're interviewing, we look for someone who not only says it with words, but demonstrates it. And so for us, we know that during the interview, if they come across warm and fuzzy, then when they get hired by us and we also train them, then they'll be able to make connections with the guests. And if you make a connection with that guest, the chances of them coming back jump tenfold. And so we teach our employees, we tell them that this is the way to make those connections. Connections are very important to creating a relationship. Also that our turnover is very low, it's 3%. So we lose about 75 people a year, which means when that guest comes back 2 years later, chances are that employee is still here. And because you look for those qualities in the employee to make those connections, they just automatically remember you and what you drank and what you ate and what your preferences are. So we're very, very lucky that way. Well, I have to tell you, the reason that I applied at Hyatt was my best friend, when I was going to the University of Hawaii, got hired at the front desk. And she said it's a great place to work. And the people are really friendly and outgoing and they're nice. So I applied once, twice, 3 times. And on that 3rd time I got hired. And what I found when I started to work here was that they really did care. In our cafeteria, we had this huge sign that said, "You make the difference with every guest every day." And so in the cafeteria, you saw that. And the way that they treated you was that they wanted to make a difference in your life. And because you hear the words, but you also see the actions, it made me think about the hospitality industry as a career. Of course, my mom paid me to go to college and said, you need to become a teacher. And I said, okay, if you pay to college, I'll become a teacher. But then I ended up staying with Hyatt because Hyatt was out in the community. We used to go to schools and talk about what it was like to be in the hotel industry. We invited high school students and college students to the hotel to do a day in the life of a hotel employee. And when you saw the light go off in their head that this is a great place to work, it just reinforces what you felt all along. So what I valued as far as education, what I valued as far as learning and feeling cared for, I felt at work. So it was easy to graduate from college, yet keep my day job at the Hyatt. So it's been I've been very fortunate. Hyatt has allowed me to actually transfer and work in 9 different departments. And I'm now in human resources, but prior to that I was in food and beverage. I did rooms for a little while. I did concierge, and then I ended up in human resources. I would have to say the hardest thing about working in the hospitality industry is it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days out of the year. So if you value holidays, I think that's probably the hardest thing, because when do people travel? It's during the holidays. And so the hotel is probably the busiest during the holidays. And so if you value that, the hotel industry may not be for you, simply because chances of you working are very good. The other thing is it's a people business. So for me, I'm very fortunate that I get my energy from people. So I enjoy the challenges of interacting with the guest. I like that. It's actually what motivates me. So for me, it's easy. If you're not a people person, that may also be difficult. You may have to maybe look at a job that's behind the scenes, like say finance or culinary for some point, or stewarding or housekeeping, where you're not having a constant interaction with the guest. So you have to be a people person, and you have to love to work holidays. We have 27 different departments at our hotel. And within those 27 departments, there's over 210 different jobs. So if you're looking for variety, if you're looking to learn and grow with a company, the hospitality industry allows you to do that. You may, when you first come in, take the job that's open, and yet, a year from now, you may be interested in another job. Because we can teach you, so the soft skills you need to have, but we can teach you the fundamentals of that other job. And what happens is, if you take one employee that goes to another job and then transfers to another job and then transfers to another job, what they learned at that first job, they take with them to that other job. So we're very, very lucky in that we haven't had a lot of employees leave us, but we have had a lot of employees transfer from one job to another. So we have parking valets that have transferred to the front desk. We have housekeepers that have transferred to concierge. We've had waitresses or wait helps transferred to sales. So you can do that. A hotel is sort of like its own little city. It has all those different opportunities for you. And if you want to move to, say, another location, you can also do that, because Hyatt's a global company. So you can transfer internationally as well as domestically. Of course, when you transfer internationally, you are bound by their laws, so it's a little bit different. But other than that, you take those skills that you learned here with you wherever you go. And then if you ever want to return back home, you can do that. So we've had people that have been here for 4 years, transfer to Maui, then go to San Diego or San Francisco, and then come back. Most people, when they think of a hotel, similar to like the airlines, right? They don't always think of the pilot. They really think of that steward or stewardess, right? Or flight attendant. For the hotel, most people think of the front desk. And yet I have to say, front desk is probably one of the more challenging areas of the hotel. simply because you're standing, for one. Your shift is 8 hours, so you're standing at least 7 hours a day. And at our property, because we have 1,230 rooms, so on average you have 2,000 or 3,000 people on property. There's always someone waiting to talk to you. So not only are you having to smile and stand for 7 hours a day, you're having to answer questions, you're having to interact with them constantly, and you might have one person who saved up a year to come to Hawaii because it's expensive, and they're thrilled to be here. Then you could have that other person that's traveling for work, and the airlines lost their luggage and they got lost getting here, and they can be a real challenge. And so you're going from the honeymoon couple to the unhappy traveler, and you have to switch gears. So I think that's probably the hardest job, I think, in our hotel, simply because you have to constantly on stage, off stage, on stage, off stage. So it's not easy. If this is the career that you want, you have to be able to learn. Learning has to be very important to you, because once you get into the workplace, you will always be learning, a new system or a new way of doing something or a new type of guest that you have at the hotel or a different program. So you're always learning. Learning doesn't stop once you leave school. So if you're engaged in school or involved in school, what you'll find is that becomes a quality that you take with you once you go into the workplace. A lot of times people are sitting in class and they don't realize that what they're learning in class is the foundation, so that once they go into the workplace, they take what they learned in class and actually get to apply it. And many times students don't say, well, I'm just taking this class to get my credits. What they don't understand is if they're involved in that class and they try to learn as much as they can while they're in class, once they get in the job, they're going to want to learn as much and be involved. And is that the person I want to hire? Absolutely. I want that student that was involved in class, involved in Shima, or involved in PATA, involved in clubs. I want that person to apply at Hyatt. The other ones that are just sitting in class to get the grade, they can go work at the Hilton and the Sheraton. Sorry. But really, I want that person that's involved. I want that person that's going to want to learn as much as they can, so that when they come and work for Hyatt, they'll do the same thing. And I think being in the hospitality industry, you're the type of person that embraces change, because each day it's different. And I think that's part of why I can work in an industry for 35 years and not feel stagnant, because each day you have a different guest. Each day your life changes, and it's interesting. There's lots of energy in a hospitality industry. So if you are the type of person that likes fast pace, loves energy, that's what happens. So it fuels you and it just keeps you involved. And I love that actually. I think that's probably why I could be in this industry for 35 years and not feel stagnant. I believe that that's actually a strength, because your clientele does change, and it is tied, unfortunately, to economics. So if you have airlines cut back on their flights to Hawaii, that does impact you on how many guests can get to you. And of course, Waikiki is lots of competition, and you're competing against the other properties. But definitely, I think change is something that you embrace, because if you don't, you probably will not do as well in the hospitality industry.